I gave up my dream job for her, and she left me for someone richer. Part 2. After that day at the cafe, something inside me went quiet. At first, I didn't want to believe it was real. I thought maybe it was just a bad day for her. That she would call the next morning and say she didn't mean it. That we'd laugh about it awkwardly, and things would go back to the way they were. So I tried. I called her that evening. Straight to voicemail. I left a message. Calm, steady, pretending I wasn't falling apart. The next day, I texted. Just a simple, "Can we talk?" No reply. Another day passed. Then 2. I messaged again, "I don't want to leave things like this. Please." Still nothing. I checked her Instagram. She was out again. Laughing. Living. A world away from where I was, staring at the same ceiling every night, wondering what I had done wrong. At some point, the silence stopped hurting. Not because I didn't care, but because I started to understand. I wasn't just grieving the end of us. I was grieving the version of myself I had abandoned to hold on to something that wasn't meant for me. One night, I sat on my floor, surrounded by old notebooks, sketches, plans, goals I had written years ago. And tucked between the pages of one old journal was a printed email. It was from the design firm in Germany. The offer I once turned down. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me thought, there's no way it's still on the table. It had been over a year. Why would they even remember me? But something in me needed to try. So I opened my laptop. Drafted a message. Simple. Honest. "Hi, I know it's been a while since we last spoke. I was offered a position in your Berlin office but had to decline at the time for personal reasons. If there's any chance something might be available now, I'd love the opportunity to talk." I hit send and didn't expect anything. But 2 days later, I got a reply. "We remember you, Daniel. Let's schedule a call." And just like that, the echo that haunted me, "You deserve someone who dreams smaller," was replaced by something else. Clarity. I realized I had given so much of myself to a version of us that no longer existed. The man I became in that relationship was not someone I recognized anymore. I put my dreams on pause, put my needs in the background, and somewhere along the line, I lost sight of the life I once wanted. But clarity didn't mean peace. Not yet. First, I had to confront the silence that followed. The weeks after the breakup felt endless. Mornings bled into nights. My phone, once buzzing with messages from her, sat cold and quiet. I spent hours replaying old memories, our first date, our late-night conversations, the promises we made when everything still felt possible. But something shifted one night. I was walking past a bookstore, one of those tucked-away little places that always seemed forgotten. I went in without thinking. There, in the back, I found a travel magazine with Germany on the cover. Berlin, bright and bold. And suddenly, I remembered the job. The job I once turned down. The life I once dreamed of. Without overthinking, I emailed the company again. Told them if the position was still available, I was ready. To my surprise, they wrote back. 3 weeks later, I was on a plane with nothing but 2 suitcases and a head full of doubt. The day I landed, the sky felt wide. Open. Like something was finally beginning. Not just the job, me. The past had followed me for so long, I wasn't sure what it felt like to breathe without it. But that first step onto foreign ground was the first time I didn't think about Abel. Not in the way I used to. Not as a question mark, or a wound I couldn't stop picking. New city. New job. Same me. New chances. The office was modern, creative, and buzzing with energy. I met my new team, diverse, driven, full of ideas. They didn't know anything about the Daniel from before. The one who sacrificed too much for too little. To them, I was just the new lead designer. It felt good. I dove into work. Not just because I had something to prove, but because for the first time in a long time, I felt like I belonged. My days were full, client meetings, brainstorming sessions, design marathons that stretched into the night. And I loved it. I rediscovered the passion I had almost forgotten I possessed. Every win felt like a step forward. A reclaiming of the parts of me I had buried. Outside work, I started building a life. I found a small apartment with a view of the river. I took weekend language classes. I met people, some colleagues, some strangers who became friends. I explored the city, tasted new foods, got lost on purpose. And slowly, the pain began to dull. But healing wasn't clean. It wasn't linear. Some days felt like victory, others felt like relapse. There were moments I still reached for my phone when I got good news, instinctively wanting to tell her. Times when I saw couples in cafes and felt that old sting. Even nights where I'd hear a song that used to play in her car and have to stop myself from spiraling. Healing was quiet. It was choosing not to message her when I missed her. It was letting myself cry when memories came back unexpectedly. It was forgiving myself for staying too long, for loving too hard, for believing something that wasn't real anymore. It was hard. And slow. But also beautiful in ways I didn't expect. I started journaling. Not just about the pain, but about the growth. What I was learning about myself. My values. My boundaries. My voice. I took solo trips on weekends, small towns, coastal cities, anywhere I could reset and reflect. I started capturing little moments, a stranger helping an elderly woman with her groceries, the way the sun hit the sidewalk at 6 p.m., the warmth of a new friend's laughter over beers. I wasn't just healing. I was reconnecting, with the world, with people, with myself. I stopped checking her social media. I stopped wondering where she was, or who she was with. One night, I posted something. A photo of me at a gallery, smiling. Started from heartbreak. Now here. It went viral in a small way. A few hundred likes. Comments from old friends. Even my former college mentor sent a message. Then, a week later, another message came through. Ava. Saw your post. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you. You really made it. I misjudged you back then. I hope you're doing well. I read it. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel angry. Or hopeful. Or sad. I felt nothing. No butterflies. No ache. Just peace. She saw me again. But I was already gone. I didn't reply. Not out of pettiness, but because I had nothing left to say. We were two people who once knew each other well. But that chapter was closed. Fully. A few weeks later, I visited the museum she once mentioned. The one she used to talk about during late-night pillow talks, how she wanted to see it one day. I stood in front of the painting she loved, a huge abstract piece of red and gold. I remember she once described it as the feeling of falling in love. I smiled. Not because I missed her. Not because I wanted her back. But because it didn't hurt to remember anymore. She was my reason to stay. But losing her became my reason to grow. I walked through the gallery slowly, soaking in every painting, every brushstroke. I thought about who I was becoming. Not defined by love lost, but by purpose regained. I joined a design mentorship program, helping younger creatives find their path. It felt full circle, guiding others toward the dreams I once paused. I dated casually. Nothing serious. Just new connections, new conversations. And through it, I learned more about what I needed. What I deserved. I learned to enjoy my own company. I built routines that were mine. Morning walks. Cooking dinner for one. Reading in bed until I fell asleep. There was no big moment where everything clicked. Healing didn't happen all at once. But one morning, I woke up, made my coffee, looked out over the city, and felt whole. Not perfect. Not finished. But whole. That's when I knew. Maybe I needed to lose her first, to finally find myself. We spend so much time thinking love is the end game. That once we have it, we're set. But sometimes, love is just the catalyst. The breaking point. The mirror we need to see how far we drifted from who we're meant to be. She wanted someone who dreamed smaller. And I was never meant to shrink. Germany didn't save me. The job didn't fix everything. But starting over gave me the space to remember who I was before the compromise. Now, I chase dreams that feel impossible. I make art that scares me. I say yes to risks and no to comfort. And when I look in the mirror, I see someone I respect. Someone who chose himself after being told he wasn't enough. Maybe you're in that place right now. Maybe someone told you that your dreams were too big. That your love wasn't enough. That you weren't enough. But you are. Sometimes, letting go isn't giving up. It's growing up.